Hey, how's it going, everybody? AZPlow21 here, back again with the UFC here in WMMA5. Last time we saw you guys, we finished up Neto versus Adesanya, and in case you guys did not see that, let's go ahead and take a look at the results of that one. Oh man, let's see. Actually, no. Last time I saw you guys was Faber versus McDonald. We just got the drug test results for Neto versus Adesanya. And in the main event, we saw Mayday Michael McDonald beat Uriah Faber via knockout. And I believe that makes Mayday McDonald the new bantamweight contender. If we take a look at our handy dandy notebook pad, yes, in fact, it says right there Mayday McDonald is right behind Thomas Almeida for contendership status. So that leaves us with another fight night to go towards, and we are going to be going towards Vass versus Harrison, the Ultimate Fighter finale, to decide which of these featherweights are going to stay in the UFC, Kayla Harrison or Doris Voss. We also have the main event to look forward to, Abdul Karim Edilov versus Khalil Roundtree, the number 15 versus the number 20th ranked fighters in the UFC light heavyweight division. Now, I've changed up the rules a little bit going forward as far as the fights go. I'm going to try to get as many fight nights done as possible, meaning that we have to cut down on the time. Obviously, I want to keep the videos around 45 minutes to an hour long, so I've made some rules for myself. I'm going to be skipping every single fight except for key fights, title fights, or main events. So, like number one contendership status fights, uh, fights like the Ultimate Fighter finale, like we have here with Kayla Harrison and Doris Voss, title fights, obviously, or the main event. So, for this upcoming card, we're only going to be showing the Harrison and Voss fight and the main event, Edilov versus Roundtree. It's going to cut down on the time that it takes to go forward. You'll be able to see a lot more fight cards, you'll be able to get more of a feel of things. So, haven't talked to you guys in a while. How are you guys doing? So, let's go ahead, go down these news, see what's going on. And it looks like Cody McKenzie is going to stay there. That his contract's running out, and he's 5-0 in Bellator, meaning he's got to be on a five fight win streak. And as you can see there, he's the number 20th light heavyweight in the world. High level regional, his fight history, as you can see, Sakoju. See, that guy used to fight in Pride. Not the greatest names, but I mean, light heavyweight, you can always use more names and more fighters in the light heavyweight division. So I think I'm going to sign this guy up, give him a 4-fight contract, and certainly he'll be signing with us. Todd Monahan. It says he was on the Ultimate Fighter before, but just didn't get into the UFC. So we look forward to having him. Roberto Soldich, 18-3, 2-0 since he joined M1, the number 14 ranked welterweight in the world, and he is the M1 welterweight champion. And he has, he's won the last 5 of his fights, and they were all title fights. So he's looking like a good one to get signed up. High-level regional in Europe only, mid-level regional here in America, but number 14 in the world. I think we're going to sign him up. 3 fights. Absolutely. Let's get Soldich in the van. Remember, we're trying to dominate the mixed martial arts world. All right, Artur Bagatinov. Anybody else worth looking at? Once you get down to around here, there's really no one worth looking at. I'm not really seeing anybody that's worth taking a look at. And also, to cut down on times, let me know if you guys want me to stop showing you guys this kind of stuff, like the whole, front office kind of stuff. If you guys want to get straight to the fight cards and I just talk about them and the ramifications of each fight, let me know. And if you guys want to see me do all this extra stuff, let me know. I enjoy taking all the time to look over all this stuff just because it helps me get a good reading on what's going on in this world. And yep, Kate Jackson has run out of her contract. I do not like people who go on 5-fight win streaks not in my company, so she is definitely out. And Lubanska needs a contract renewal, so let's get her renewed. Yeah, she hasn't really shown anything super great, so we'll just give her another 2 fights. Alrighty then. Pizzella, that's okay. Just prospects. Matt Frivola. I'm pretty sure we signed him up already. James Gallagher extended his deal. Escobar, I think we were going to let her walk. Michinori Tanaka. Now, this guy, I believe, is ranked. Yes, the number 11 in the world, number 12 in the UFC. Just beat Eddie Wineland. So we want to definitely get him back in. We'll give him another 4 fights. Tanaka, get him back in there. All right, Jordan Rinaldi. I think he's coming off a win. Yep, against Gennady. Nice veteran to keep a hold of. We'll get him in for another 2 fights. All right. Kate Jackson's gone. Cody Stamann. I think he just won his last... No, he lost. How's he getting on? He's lost the last 4 fights. That's not looking very good on him. He's lost against rather low names, too. So I think we're going to let Stamann go, actually. Low-level regional, so it's not even worth holding. So, yeah, we're just going to let Stamann walk here. Eric Shelton, what are we going to be doing with him? Won his last fight, so automatically let's give him another 2 fights at least. I don't like firing people after they just want to fight. You know, it kind of seems besides the point. You know, they just want to fight, so it's like, what else can they do? You know what I mean? Escobar, she's also coming off a win, 3-4 in the UFC. Go ahead and give her another 2 fights. All right. Jennifer Maia, I believe she's coming off a loss, and I think I might be letting her walk. Yeah, 0-5 in the UFC. And not a great showing at all by her in the flyweight division, so we're going to let him go. Nathan Coy, I believe we're letting him go as well. We are 1-6, an abysmal record for the UFC. And that's all as far as the news. So let's go ahead and move onward towards Saturday, week 3 in August. So we're going to go ahead and move forward here. As long as we don't have anything to do matchmaking-wise, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Do we have any fights to make? Odin. All right, Odin, it looks like Madrigal we need to send down. That's right. We're setting up our inaugural atomweight title for Invicta. And I think all that we're waiting on is Cassie Robb and Tomo Masawa. Let's go ahead and check on that, actually. No, I don't want to look at Randy Brown. Let's go over to Child Organization. Search. Current weight class, atom weight. And it looks like, it says that everyone's here. Tomo. I think everyone might be here. April, Cassie Robb. Ahmad Arabi. Yeah, it looks like everyone's here. So I wonder, did we already set it up? Or no, you know what? We're waiting for the Ultimate Fighter finale to take place, so we need to get forward to that. So we're going to go ahead and advance towards it, because until we get that finale taken care of, we can't book the next Ultimate Fighter, which is important because it is for the inaugural women's atomweight title. So we're going to go ahead and get that done here, and then we're going to move forward towards our first UFC card that we'll be showing you. So let's go ahead and skip forward here. This guy, Max Fortner, I believe I have him signed up. But since the last time I talked to you guys, a lot of crazy stuff has gone on in the UFC. CM Punk, I'm a big wrestling fan, so CM Punk didn't have the greatest showing against Mike Jackson. I actually watched that live at Buffalo Wild Wings with a couple of friends. Was not a good showing at all from him, but he was able to hold out until the end. But overall, it was not a good MMA fight. But it was exciting because I was, hoping he would be able to do something, and he landed a couple punches. He got a takedown here and there, but it was always going to be Mike Jackson, it seemed, for that fight. So let's go ahead and take a look at our little notepad we got going on over here. Let's take a look. Ben Rothwell is our heavyweight contender, and immediately after him, it is Junior Dos Santos. Gian Villante is the light heavyweight contender, although Daniel Cormier is back from injury, and it's going to be weird to see just what happens with him considering he is back. So that's going to be interesting. Lyoto Machida is the contender at the middleweight division. Who would have thought he would be this good this late into his career, especially with the aging karate style, just kind of like Wonder Boy has. You saw Darren Till just thrash Wonder Boy with that karate style, so Machida must be that good at it. We got Gunnar Nelson, the man from is it Iceland or is it Norway? I'm not too sure. But nonetheless, we are waiting on some emails to read. It's a Thursday. Matt Travola extends her deal. Tanya Evinger has extended her deal. What are we doing with Tanya Evinger? I think we might have wanted to. No, we're just keeping her at featherweight. All right. Jessica Ai extends her deal. Very nice. Jeremy Kimball extends his deal. Drug test failure for Junisuke Lee. Atom weight. He's gonna end up being a straw weight, but I mean, we'll just let him serve that suspension down in the minors. Tanaka's being approached. I'm not really too worried about it, although let's go ahead and check that out just in case. Only one he is considering. That's good. Now, Neto extends his deal, and we did just see Adesanya versus Neto, although he did lose to Adesanya. We're going to want to keep him around. Soltich has had another offer. He is seriously considering more than one offer. Now let's see what we can offer him. That would M1 is offering quite the contract. 3 fights, $5,000. So let's go ahead and offer him 5500, and let's offer him 5 fights. And he said he'd rather sign this one. All right, that's good. And Todd Monahan, I want to get him as well. He might seriously considering both offers. 3 fights for 4-3. Let's just go ahead and offer him 5K and that. And he said he'd rather sign this one. That's good. Alright, Ishihara Lubanska is getting offered. Let's see what they're offering her. She's only considering ours, so it doesn't matter. And Adesanya, who we just saw win his main event not too long ago, he has extended as well. So that's all taken care of, and I think we wanted to check where Gunnar Nelson is from. He is from Iceland, so I'd imagine he's having a good time watching the World Cup right now. Iceland having a good go of it, was able to tie with Argentina, although they just lost to Nigeria today. So unfortunate for him, but the Icelandic man, Gunnar Nelson, will be taking on Vicente Luque on November 2020 at UFC 254 for the welterweight title. So that's definitely going to be something to look forward to. And let's see if there's anything else to look at here. They found someone to replace that injured guy. Good for them. And other than that, it's not looking like much else. So we're going to go ahead and move on over towards Saturday and that fight card. And as this is loading, I am going to go and do something real quick. Alright, moving forward towards this Ultimate Fighter finale, Voss versus Harrison. That is the fight card that we are moving towards. Ultimately, we're going to try to get towards the UFC pay-per-view card as well. And we're going to try to show you that as well. So let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments section. Just what you're thinking of the save so far, how you're liking everything. Let me know if you want me to keep the videos shorter, or if you want me to keep them longer. You know, showing all the tedious stuff like The Office and all the news and things like that. If you want me to show you guys that, I most certainly will. But if you want me to cut down on it and like start the video straight at the fight card and then move forward from there, I could do 2 fight cards that way. Or I might be able to only show one if I do it the way that I want to do it, which is like immediately after the next fight card, doing all the office stuff and then moving forward. Just, it saves time to show you guys like less loading screens and things like that. Although if I were to get more of an audience and talk, we'd be able to talk to each other, ask some questions, get some answers and things like that. But nonetheless, let's move forward. All right, here we are, fight night. Voss versus Harrison. Remember, Doris Voss and Kayla Harrison fighting for a UFC contract at the featherweight division. I'm going to be favoring Kayla Harrison, mainly because she has more fights under her belt, so she might be a little bit more ready. Nonetheless, you never know what can happen in the UFC. We also have an Invicta fight night and an ROC fight night tonight, so that's good that some of our prospects are getting some fights in. Let's see if there's anything worth looking at in the news. Retires after loss, that's a bummer. Negotiations, nothing worth looking at there. Alright. Look at that name, Fumiaki Goldmine. Some of the last names that are regenerated in this game are kind of weird. Labanska has extended. Edion Gomez needs to extend her deal, although look at that face. Oh, goodness. I'm not exactly super sure if we're going to extend her. Like, she has a win over Edvinger, but I mean, who doesn't? She's one of the few featherweights that we have. She has a fight booked versus Unetskaya, and I think we might let her walk. 37 years old, 12-7. Like, Arjan Bular is ready to get back in there. ONE FC have made an offer to Monahan. Only one he's considering. That's good. Soldich has had another offer from M1, and we're the only one he's considering. That's good. Alright, it looks like that's everything. And Rosalia Pizzella has signed. 4-2 as a flyweight. We need to get her over to Invicta. So what was her name? Rosalia or something like that. So Roz is what we're going to look for. And Odin, if Odin is still down there. Odin is still down here. And can we get him over to ROC? No. I think he still has to get a fight done. Yep, after tonight he should be good to go. But let's get Rosalia down to Invicta. Alright, that's good. And I don't think we have anything to look forward to as far as matchmaking and things like that. I think we have it booked, and as you can see there, that is the UFC pay-per-view that we will be showing you. UFC 251, Rousey versus Dumont. Rousey, Norma Dumont. Mike Perry, Platinum Mike Perry versus Paul Daly. Lando Venata versus Marif Pirayev. Carlos Condit, Mike Pyle. And Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Freire. Some other ones to look forward to. Just looking at the schedule, looking at the main events. UFC Fight Night, Bedorf versus Blades at the heavyweight division. UFC on Fox, Chandler versus Diakashi. UFC Fight Night, Ruth versus Antonio Carlos Jr. at the middleweight division. And it'd probably be a good idea to put this on a broadcaster, I'd imagine. Alright, so let's go ahead, put this one on the UFC. On the UFC Fight Pass. Okay, and let's go ahead and put Rousey versus Dumont on all of our pay-per-view providers. Alright, Sky Sports box office, but also like the World Cup is going on, like a bunch of stuff is going on in the sporting world, like in the NBA, all the friggin' free agency going on. The draft was yesterday, the NHL draft was today, like a bunch of stuff going on in the sporting world. It's hard to keep track of sometimes, but you gotta do it because, I mean, who doesn't love sports? Alright, getting all of Alright, I think that's all of our pay-per-view providers. I'm going to try to see if I can get a better pay-per-view provider in Europe and the British Isles, because it's a smaller one that we have, and I'd like to get that British crowd into the UFC a little bit more. And then after Ruth versus Junior, we got UFC Fight Night, Pokrajak versus Reyes. That's going to be in Italy. And then the next pay-per-view is a really big one with 2 title fights. UFC 252, Velasquez versus Rothwell 2. That's going to be headlined by Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier, and Cain Velasquez versus Ben Rothwell for their respective titles. So, We're ready to go with this fight card. Voss versus Harrison, the Ultimate Fighter finale. And we're here. Show is taking place in London. We have 6 main card fights and 7 undercard fights. And as I told you guys earlier on, we are going to be skipping forward all the fights. We'll see the results. I won't just skip towards all of them. We're going to see the results, but we're not going to be going into the actual fight engine. I'm just going to be showing you guys the results, and the only fights we will be showing you are the main fights. So the Ultimate Fighter finale fight and the main event, which is Edeloff and Roundtree. So our first one, Alex the Great White Morono takes on, remember the name, Bilal Muhammad. 170, so this is the welterweight division. Muhammad coming off 3 straight losses. It's not, and his last fight, or his last win I should say, was over Jorge Masvidal, so it's not like he hasn't proved that he can face top competition. He's just been having a rough go of it so far. And then Morono is coming off a loss to Mike Pyle, although he won his last 3 previous to that. So between these two, it looks like Alex the Great Mike Morono is going to defeat Muhammad, and we're going to have to see if we want to re-sign Muhammad after 4 straight losses. To Swick, Edwards, and Ziolkowski, that's tough. That's tough competition, but you can't lose 5 fights in a row and you're definitely gone. But 4 fights that's pushing it. And he wants to fight Randy Brown next. So Alex Morono getting the victory there. The South Side Jersey Strangler Tim Williams taking on Walter Black Sniper Gahadze. The bookies are favoring Gahadze. I think I'm going to as well. 18-3. And he's I wanted to say he's young, but he's 32, so not exactly entirely young. And Tim Williams actually wins. So let's go and take a look at Tim Williams. Ooh, those are his skills. Let's go and take his last fights, and he was on a 4-fight losing streak previously to this, so a big win for Tim Williams to get over Gahadze, who I think won in his last. He actually has lost his last 4 fights, so we're gonna have to see what we want to do with Gahadze as well. And he shows some respect to Gahadze, who he might have just sent to the unemployment line. All right, Gareth McClellan facing off against Carl Baby K. Roberson. Bookie's definitely favoring Roberson. That might just be because of his youth at the middleweight division. Both 6'1", both 185. I definitely believe McClellan is going to be outmatched here, and Roberson takes it by unanimous decision. So let's see. All right, so he's won his last 3, has Roberson, so definitely a good showing by him, and definitely getting his name up there. And Roberson is the whole package, charismatic talker, nice, nice. All right, next up, Jake Collier versus Slow Mike Rodriguez. Bookies are favoring Collier. Let's see why exactly that is at the light heavyweight division. He's won his last 2, very nice. And as far as Mike Rodriguez, he's coming off of a loss to James Boknovic. And we're going to get this one done. And Collier wins via submission in the second round. It's rated as a great fight. And Collier praises Rodriguez. Very nice. So Collier gets the win there. And then at the heavyweight division, it's Denis Goltsov versus Valentin Moldavsky. Both at 227. 11-2 to 21-9. Looks to be an even fight. It's going to be an interesting one to see. And Goltsov takes it, so he improves to 22-9. Very nice from the Russians, giving it all. Camera loves Denis Goltsov. That's going to be interesting to see. All right. Tyler the Beast East versus Roy Botton. Bookies like Botton. He's a year older than Tyler. But look at Tyler, the Beast East. There's a reason he's called to be 6'6", 240. An absolute unit of a man, although he has lost his last 3 fights. And I think he's going to lose this one to Botton, as in fact he does, via guillotine choke in the first round within 1 minute and 6 seconds. That might have been the last we see of Tyler East, despite his enormous frame. He's now on double digits as far as losses in his career. Botton says he was working on that choke hard during training, and it definitely showed. All right. And in the last of the prelim fights, so we have Liz Carmouche, who was the first fighter to face off against Ronda Rousey for the bantamweight title in real life, taking on Karina Dam, who's getting up there in age, although she doesn't look exactly like she's 39 years old. And I think I'm going to take Carmouche in this, although I'd imagine Karina Dam's probably going to retire if she loses. So I believe that to be the case, as Carmouche does take it via unanimous decision. And will Karina Dam retire? She does not. Carmouche gives some respect to Dam and takes her win in stride. So we're on to the main card now. So Adam, the prototype Milstead, taking on Andrei Arlovsky in the heavyweight division. Arlovsky, 41 years old, so irregardless of what happens in this fight, it's always a risk that he's going to retire as well. Taking on Adam Milstead, a young man who I'm assuming is on a little bit of a win streak. He's won his last fight against Poborechets, and I believe Arlovsky is on some sort of losing streak. No, but he has lost he's lost 4 out of his last 5. So definitely not a good showing for Arlovsky, and on the decline, and probably going to retire sometime soon. I'm actually going to take Milstead in this one simply because of his youth. I'd imagine Arlovsky's on his way out. So let's go ahead and simulate this one and see what happens. And yep, oh no, oh Andre, 25 seconds into the first round, and Arlovsky gets knocked out. I'd imagine this is the last we see of Andrei Arlovsky, sadly. And no, the man is going to keep on going. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Arlovsky's still in it. He's definitely out of the rankings now. And Milstead said that he's going to throw a party after this. I would too, after beating a ranked opponent with a lineage like Arlovsky's. So good win for Milstead. And as we move on to Randy Rude Boy Brown, taking on Albert Einstein Tumanov. 14-3 versus 20-7. The bookies like Tumanov at the welterweight division, a 3-inch difference for Rude Boy. I think I'm going to take Tumanov in this one, and Einstein Tumanov wins. Less than a minute into the second round, and he won a big one there. He had lost his last 2. His last win came over Koscheck, and I think Rude Boy came into this on a loss. Actually, no, he had won his last 4. That's a big loss for Brown. That would have been some definite momentum on the main card of a fight card. You know, getting his 5th straight win, that would have been big for him. But Tumanov snuffs that, and he praises Randy Brown for his toughness. So Marvin Vettori, who in real life we just saw lose to Israel Adesanya, is taking on Albert Machete Duraev, and the bookies like Duraev. Let's go ahead and take a look at these guys quickly. Vettori. Last loss to Yoel Romero, a 42-year-old Yoel Romero in this save. And he does have, in this save, a win over Phil Brooks, otherwise known as CM Punk. Crazy. And Duraev is coming off the number 24 ranked opponent in the middleweight division, I should say. Coming off a win over Elias Theodoru. So Duraev and Vettori. I think I am going to take Duraev in this one. And it is Machete Duraev winning it via submission less than 2 minutes into the first round. So let's say what Machete has to say. Talks about tapping out Vettori, and he's very happy with his technique. Well, I would be too if I tapped him out as easily as you just did. The Russian Hammer, Artem Lobov. Now, this is the guy that just got cut from the UFC because of all the shit that went down with Conor McGregor, throwing the dolly, you know, trying to fight with, it's just ridiculous. He was trying to fight with Khabib. He had a little confrontation by himself with Khabib and his whole posse, and things came to a head, and Conor came all the way out to New York and threw a dolly at a bus filled of UFC fighters, and well, here we are now, and Artem Lobov with a 15-15-1-1 record, facing off against Wang with a 23-2-1. I'm definitely taking Wang, and I'd imagine Lobov is not going to be around much longer after this, as Guan Wang dispatches of Lobov in 2.5 minutes via submission. So let's take a look at Wang. This is his 3rd straight win, one being over Josh Emmett. His last loss was to highly touted prospect Du Ho Choi in April of 2019. So a good victory for Wang. And he's excited. He wants to go to a post-show party. All these guys are going to be partying into the late nights. And he's good at these interviews. That's good to hear. And here we are, the co-main event. Now, these next 2 fights we will be showing the entirety of. The co-main event, it's Kayla Harrison against Doris Voss in the women's featherweight division. This is to see who is the next Ultimate Fighter at the women's featherweight division. The winner of this fight will be sticking around in the UFC featherweight division. Will be getting a UFC contract. The loser will go back down to Invicta and see if they can't own their craft a little bit more. So, Kayla Harrison has wins over Kimberly Holbrook, Maisie Hackney, and Carly Wilborn, and losses over Abigail Shattuck and Tamika Brents, both of whom are really good. Abigail Shattuck, the current Invicta featherweight champion. Tamika Brents already in the UFC featherweight division. All right, and then Doris Voss, just 2-1, and oh, look at that smile. She's so happy to be here. I think the Argentinian, yes, from Argentina, wins over Lourdes Gandara and Alexandrine Porto, and a loss over Natsuko Takashita. So, those are the two fighters that we have going for you. This is the Ultimate Fighter finale, and here we go. All right, Eve Levine is the referee. Let's see, Harrison looking for a left hand. It looks like Harrison is really going after. Big strike. Harrison's on rubbery legs. Already Voss is trying to get into a tie clinch. Looks like Harrison got rocked there, as Harrison's now pinning her up against the cage, and that can't be good for Voss, considering if you look to the left, judo is Harrison's strong point. Already more than halfway through this round, though. No progress being made. It looks like Voss is going to win this round if Harrison can't get anything going. And that is the end of round one, and it did go to Voss. Remember, just a 3. Harrison gets a single leg takedown, so immediately looking to win the last 2 rounds. Firing off some rights, couple of punches here and there. Looks to get past the guard. She passes, but only to half guard. A few rights to the body. All right, she's pounding away on Voss. Harrison just dominating her on the ground, and it looks like Harrison's going to take this one. So it's everything to fight for in the last round of this one. Remember, the Ultimate Fighter is decided by this, and then we can get our next Ultimate. Oh, she's hurt. Harrison was hurt, and that might have just been the victory for Doris Voss if she's able to maintain the rest of the round, unless Harrison gets a takedown or something here. It could go to a decision. And it looks like this is going to be it. 20 seconds left. Rib crunching body kick. Knocked down with 5 seconds left. Oh no. Saved by the bell is Harrison, although I think Voss might have taken it. 29-28, making no quit. Doris Voss the winner by unanimous decision, and the women's featherweight division Ultimate Fighter. Unbelievable. So with just a record of 3-1, she will be staying in the UFC as a contracted fighter. Meanwhile, Kayla Harrison drops to 3-3 and is forced to go back down to Invicta and earn her way up. Unbelievable. Congratulations to Doris Voss. I will be sure to give her and Kayla Harrison new contracts, except Harrison will have to stick down in Invicta. And Voss, welcome to the UFC. Exactly. Voss says she's happy to have won her UFC debut and that she is very happy to be here and very happy to stay as a UFC contracted fighter. Unbelievable. Congratulations to the Ultimate Fighter, Doris Voss. So we had the title match, not the title match I should say, but the name card match just happened, but we do have a main event still, as it is Abdul Karim Edilov taking on Khalil Roundtree. Edilov here, ranked number 15 in the UFC. His last fight was against Ilir Latifi, and he won via unanimous decision. But he is on an unbelievable win streak. And for his opponent, Khalil Roundtree, he on himself is on a nice win streak, with victories on the way over King Mo and Darko Stocic. So let's see. This is the main event. The bookies are favoring Edilov. I'm going to do the same. Has a nice 4-inch advantage on the ground, and I think his sambo is just going to be a little bit too much for Roundtree. But we shall see as it is main event time. Referee Eve Levine is here, and I believe that Bruce Buffer would say it's time for our main events. The Ultimate Fighter finale main events, as Edilov is looking to move forward towards Roundtree. Takedown attempt from Edeloff, and unable to get it on Roundtree. My voice may get annoying at some times, but I am trying to be a sports broadcaster, so, and I'd imagine that calling, a sport such as MMA would be like really fun. Like, I don't know all the exact specifics of the sport, but should I be able to learn it, I would definitely love to do something like play-by-play for a sport like MMA or boxing. Like, it just seems like really fun. It's way more exciting of a sport than soccer or baseball, despite me having experience in calling those sports. But yeah, it would be very exciting to watch. Like, a lot of different intricacies go into like combat sports, so being able to talk about that would be very interesting, especially with someone who knows what they're talking about, like Joe Rogan or Mike Goldberg, or somebody like that, just that knows what they're talking about. But just being able to call the action, that'd be incredibly fun. As I'm talking about this, and we have a main event going on. Edeloff looking for a takedown, unable to get it. So Roundtree able to keep it on the feet, but I can't really get a good gauge on what's happening because there's been really no big strikes that happened so far. And it says Edeloff has won the first 2 rounds according to the AI. And there's still 3 more rounds to go. And it looks like Roundtree might be getting tired. Catches the kick and going for a takedown, unable to get it even though he caught the kick. And Roundtree smothered up against the cage. So it looks like Edeloff is just controlling the pace of this fight. Edeloff gets hit with a leg kick. Edeloff just forcing his will on Roundtree. Roundtree defending a suplex attempt there. But it looks like Edeloff might win these rounds simply because of the aggression that he's showing. Into the championship or main event rounds. And Roundtree needs to get something going here. According to the scorecards, he's lost every single round. Edeloff definitely working his way up. He's only 28 years old, so definitely a lot more years ahead of him as far as his MMA career. And it would definitely be nice to get a win over a ranked opponent such as Roundtree. Already ranked himself as number 15 in the UFC. I'd imagine if he wins this fight, he might be able to get himself a top 10 opponent, maybe get himself booked on a UFC pay-per-view made card. You never know. The future is bright for both Edeloff and Roundtree, both young in age, for light heavyweights. But it looks like we're going to go into our final round with Roundtree basically needing a stoppage. Otherwise, Edeloff's probably going to take this via unanimous decision. And Edeloff is still controlling Roundtree, and it looks like he's just too much. His sambo and his wrestling just looks to be a little bit too much for Roundtree. And it looks like it's going to be an easy UD for Edeloff here in the main event of the Ultimate Fighter finale, Voss versus Harrison. But already, we've seen Doris Voss. I did not pick her to win either. I thought Harrison would take it, but Doris Voss is the featherweight's Ultimate Fighter. And she's a regenerated fighter, while Harrison is a real-life fighter that was already on the card, that was already in the game. As you can see, Abdul Karim Edeloff does take it via unanimous decision. Every single judge choosing in his favor, and that is the end of our main event, and that is the end of the Ultimate Fighter finale, Voss versus Harrison. So Edeloff will have won his last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least his last 8 fights. That's incredible. And Roundtree's winning streak comes to an unfortunate end here tonight in our main event. And he says he has a lot of respect for Roundtree and praises his toughness. And critical rating, not the best. Commercial rating, not the best. We drew 1,600 people to London, and the show was broadcasted on UFC Fight Pass. A little bit of popularity decrease, but that's only because we're already at the highest popularity. So when you get a card that's not super duper hype, you're going to get a little bit of popularity decrease. That's nothing to worry about, though. Fight of the night was Wang versus Lobov. Milstead got the KO of the night over Larlovsky, and Tim Williams got the sub of the night over Gahadze. And let's go ahead and give a performance bonus to Doris Voss. I'm feeling a little bit generous. She's the Ultimate Fighter. Why not give her a performance bonus to show, hey, you know what? You did a good job. Welcome to the UFC. Here's an extra $50K. All right. So that is Ultimate Fighter finale, Voss versus Harrison. And I believe we have, let's go ahead and check how long we've been going at it here. We've been going at it for about 39 minutes. So I think we're going to keep going at it, and we're going to go ahead and move forward towards the UFC pay-per-view. I'm going to show you guys Rousey versus Dumont, and once we finish up that pay-per-view, I will stop it there. But once again, let me know what you guys are thinking. Do you like the shorter videos? Do you like the longer videos? Like, if you want me to start straight at one fight card and then move forward towards another one, or if you'd like to see all the tedious front office work for all of the fight cards, let me know, because I will definitely do either, depending on what you guys would rather see. Just moving ahead here towards the next day after this fight card. I'd imagine we have to give some offers to people like Harrison and Voss. Voss we will definitely be keeping around. Alright. Let's see if there's anyone that we can sign potentially. We have Betch Correa talking about Ronda Rousey. Greg Hardy just signed for PFL. Invicta announced a new show. That's good for them. Get some more prospects fighting. Willie Gates. Not going to be offering him anything. Cody East. Vidal Camps. That's Chris Masters. That's pretty funny. Although he sucks in the MMA, so seems about right. Okay. Nothing really worth towards looking at here. Let's go ahead and look at our news. Sylvester Baron, 4-2 in ROC. Let's go ahead and get him signed up for 4 more fights down in the minor leagues. Alright, Tanaka extends his deal. Look at all these guys getting approached. Libia Valdez, currently on loan to Invicta. 0-2. I think we're just going to let her go. Oskari Ostrowski, 2-0 at the heavyweight division. Nice. Let's get him. He's 6'6" at the heavyweight division. What a big boy. Oh my god, I would not want to fight that dude. Get him another. You know what? Screw it. Let's get him. Let's get him another 6 fights. See if he can't, cause some damage. If he gets to about 8-0, he's automatically coming up. If someone starts out undefeated at around 6, 7, or 8-0, boom, bringing him right up. Because that means that they've shown that at the UFC level, they're able to get some quality wins in. So, boom, you're right up there. All right, Berengar Pass, 3-0 at the welterweight division. Let's get him situated. Let's book him for another 7 fights. If he's able to get to 10-0, you know he's a great talent. Even if he gets like 9-1, I'd probably still bring him up. Glenn Manna, 1-1 as a heavyweight. Let's give him another 4 fights. You never know with these prospects. You just want to get them fighting, get them some experience. Even if they're not ready for the UFC, maybe they go to somewhere like Bellator. They get a couple good wins in, and maybe I get a look at them again. But it's always about keeping these prospects in your ranks, getting looks at them. They're fighting each other for a spot in the UFC. It's all good. Anderson Braddock Silva, 5 and. All right, I signed him at 3-1, and now he's 5-4. Not exactly looking the best, but he's a good body to have, so we'll sign him up for another 2 fights. All right, Tanaka extends. Ooh, we got this dude who needs to be renewed at 1-6. He's on a 5-fight losing streak, and homeboy will not be re-signing with us. Carmouche needs to be re-signed. Let's go ahead and get her signed back up. 2 fights sounds about right. She might be retiring soon anyways. Madrigal leaves the ROC, so we can put him back down because he just signed a new contract. Elias Urbina, 3-6, and we will not be re-signing him. Tumanov, he just beat Randy Brown on the main card of that last fight card, so 5 fights for Tumanov. Good to go. Tim Williams has left. Now, he just left off of a win, so that's kind of a bummer, but good for him, I guess. So he has left the UFC. Is he going anywhere? He does not have contracts, but I don't think I'm going to be re-signing him, and I think I might be letting Gahadze go, too. Wang needs to be renewed. I almost passed up him. All right, let's go ahead and get Wang signed up for an extra 5 fights. Good to me. Andrei Arlovsky, I mean, he's an old man, and he's definitely on the decline. It says he's number 24 in the world. That's probably going to end with that. So, although let's go ahead and sign him up. If he's going to retire, might as well have him retire with me. Adam Milstead, who just beat Arlovsky. Let's give him another 4 fights. 33 to 34 years old is very young for a heavyweight. So that's good for him. Edloff, we just saw him win in the main event. Let's go ahead and give him automatic 5 fights guaranteed. All right, Randy Brown. Give him another contract. He just lost, but it'll be good to keep him around. Give him another 2 more fights. Bilal Muhammad. Now let's see. Do we want to keep Muhammad? 6-6 in the UFC. Mid-level regional. His name value is definitely going down. He's on a 4-loss win streak over some good opponents. I'm thinking we give him maybe a 2-fight contract, and if he loses both of those fights, he is definitely gone. But Muhammad will be sticking around in a very tough welterweight division. Artem Lobov, he lost his last fight, correct? Yeah, he's gone. And Benkei Owada at 3-0 down in the minor league. So let's go ahead and get him signed up for another 5 fights or so. Looks good to me. And looks like everything else is good to me. So unless we need to book some fights down here. Let's see. We do have to book some fights. So, that's 5 fights on Fox. That's 6. That's 6. That's 5. Do we need to book the prelims? We do. So all of these need to be booked prelims. I think I'm going to do this off camera. I'm going to book the prelims. They're just the prelim fights. They're not super important. But I think I saw we need to book one of these fight night main events. And that is it. So we need to find someone to fight Ronaldo Sousa. So let's see who that person is going to be that we have him fight. It's not going to be for the title. CB Dalloway, we could have him fight against him. Chris Kamazi, someone low-level national at the very least, I'd imagine. Will he fight Dalloway? He will. That's basically an automatic win for Sousa at that point. But it looks like that's what we're going to do. So let's just go ahead and do it. Dalloway versus Sousa. Asuncao versus Ramos. That's suited for the prelims. Yeah, that's the Scandinavia card that we were talking about that was always going to be hard to book. I mean, it looks... I tried to give them a good card, but they were just not having it. So that sucks. That sometimes you're just going to get cards like that where you need to book like a god tier card, but it just wasn't going to be. Everything up to 254 is booked except for the prelims. I'm going to book the prelim fights for those shows off camera. They're not super important. You're going to get to see them anyways, but we're going to go ahead and move forward towards 251 Rousey versus Dumont. So we're going to do that right now, and I'm going to shut up while this is loading, and you guys, I'll see you when we get to Saturday, or if there's some more emails that we need to take care of. talking a little bit more about the World Cup, I'm just going to go over the scores for today's games and just tell you how I feel about it. So Brazil beat Costa Rica 2-0 today. Apparently Neymar was flopping around like a bitch during that game. I can definitely see that happening. Unfortunate for Costa Rica, they had a very good World Cup back in 2014, making it all the way to the quarterfinals, which is more than USA or Mexico has been able to do in quite a long time. Ugh. Nonetheless, Brazil put themselves in a good position to qualify for the next round. They're going to have to get past Serbia, but I'd imagine that won't be too hard of a task, although Serbia are definitely going to be itching to get to the next round as well, considering they lost to Switzerland today 2-1. Switzerland are very close to automatically qualifying. Uh, they play against Costa Rica. No, they play against Costa Rica next. Yeah, so they just need a draw, I believe, to be able to get forward. But Brazil and Serbia, it's anyone's game, really. So Serbia and Brazil is definitely going to be the game to look out for in that group. And then Nigeria and Iceland. Nigeria winning 2-0. Heartbreaking for Iceland. I'm a little bit of a fan of Iceland's, considering they were able to get the tie from. They were able to get the tie out of Argentina, and then they beat England in the Euros a couple years ago, and that whole thunderclap thing. Like you just can't help but not cheer for Iceland. I mean, it's amazing. Like this tiny country making it to the World Cup and putting on a pretty good show. I hope they're able to get somewhat of a result against who else are they facing? Against Croatia. Some kind of result. Croatia's already through to the next round, so they don't need to, win. So I mean, we're not going to talk about like rigging games or anything like that, but I'd rather have Croatia and Iceland going through than Croatia and Argentina. I wish nothing but, the worst for Argentina, because their fans are despicable and it's whatever. So tomorrow's games, Belgium and Tunisia, Korea Republic versus Mexico, which I'm going to be watching with a very heavy heart. And then Germany will be taking on Sweden. So that's what's to look forward to as far as World Cup tomorrow. But right now, we are at Thursday, not Saturday, Thursday. And let's see if there's any news that we can respond to. Cerrone wants to fight Perry, and that's been a white hot feud to look out for. David Branch has been injured, so we need to find a replacement fight for him. So let's do that right now. Pokrajak versus Reyes. Pokrajak versus Reyes. That's pretty soon. It's a prelim fight, so it won't be hard to find a replacements. Let's see who we want to give that to, though. So let's look first to see who hasn't fought in the longest time. We see some May people here, some January people here. Khusrev. May. Let's see that Khusrev guy. He hasn't fought in a long time, and he beat David Ranch recently. So let's go ahead and give it to him. Wouldn't have time for a full training camp. That's all good. Yada yada. All right. So that fight is booked. All good there. All right. Soljic has signed. That's good for our welterweight division. He's number 14 in the world. All right, good for him. Soljic is signed. We have a couple of guys that are getting offers from other places, including our prospects, which is not good. Monahan has signed, which is good for our, I believe, light heavyweight division. Yep, our light heavyweight division. That's good. Braun. So he's a good prospect to keep a hold of. So let's see where he's getting offered from. We're the only offer he's considering, though, so that really doesn't matter. We don't really care about Muhammad if he... Oh, Adam Milstead is taking a hiatus from MMA. That's ridiculous. Huh. 33 years of age, he's ranked in the UFC now, and he decides that he wants to take a break. That is crazy. Oh, well, we'll see you in a little bit, Adam. And we won't be able to sign him either. All right. Edilov is getting some bids too. We want to make sure we keep him. We're the only offer he's considering, though. So that's good. Matt Major contract renewal at ROC. 7 and 8. You can go ahead. And that's basically it. But man, Adam Milstead taking a hiatus, so he's not going to be around for at least like 6 months or so. That's some breaking news. Another thing we can do, I'd imagine on our next next episode, we're going to be setting up our next Ultimate Fighter show. You must wait at least one. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna have to wait at least 1 month after this one before we can schedule it. So I think we have all of our fighters in tow, but oh, it's saying we can do it now, but I don't think it will start. All right. So is the atom weight division a thing here? Yes, it is. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It says we only have 10, but I think I just got to move some people over. Nonetheless, we will schedule that at the next episode. But for now, we're just going to move on forward towards Saturday and the UFC card. And we can show you that UFC card, and I will sign off from there. GSP, George St. Pierre, just lost his welterweight title to Vicente Luque. Unbelievable. But yeah, thanks you guys for watching. We're gonna move on ahead towards this pay-per-view, and after that, I'll sign off. Really liking this game, and just as once again, let me guys know how you feel about whether or not you want me to do long episodes or short episodes, one fight card each episode, two fight cards each episode. If you want it to be two fight cards each episode, I would play off camera and skip ahead until fight night, and then from there I would record and just let you guys know how things are going from there. And then once that's good, I would do all the office things on stream until the next fight card, show you guys that one, and then sign off. That's what I think I might be doing going forwards, but nonetheless, showing you two fight cards today, and I'm hoping you guys are enjoying it. It's going to be about an hour and 20-minute episode, I'm imagining, simply just because of all the downtime and all the loading screens and stuff like that. But let me know what you guys are thinking. If you guys are liking the save, if you guys aren't liking it, what you guys want to see. If you guys want me to, give you some info on maybe a fighter that you haven't seen on this save so far, let me know. But I'm really liking this game. So we're going to go on and show you this pay-per-view featuring Ronda Rousey in the main event. And who would have thought that she'd be back in the UFC in my game nonetheless. Kicking ass in the WWE now, but kicking ass in the UFC here. Get a little swig of carbonated water there. All right, and here we are. It's fight night. Rousey versus Dumont is tonight, as is a Bellator show, as is both an Invicta and ROC show. Let's take a look at that ROC show. There might be no championship fights for the ROC one, and the Invicta one, just 4 fights. That's it, just 4 fights. So definitely a shortage of fighters probably for Invicta. I'd imagine they're all kind of gassed, probably getting like a fight every 2 months or so. That's good though. That's good that they're getting fights very constantly. They're able to develop really quickly down in the minor leagues and my sister companies. So that's good. That's good. So let's see if there's anybody that I can sign here. Matt Riddle. I made him available earlier on. I think he's down. He's in Bellator. Gotcha. Glenn Mana. Okay, so we're gonna have to send some people back down. All right. Sylvester Baron has signed. That's good. So let's go ahead and put his name down there along with Odin. So Sylvester. All right. Artsum has left. Good riddance. Anderson Braddock Silva has left. All right. So Anderson. Glenn Mana also resigned. So Glenn, I know he's a prospect. All right. Anybody else? Oscari. All right. This is just so I know who to send back down, along with Berengar. How about those names? Berengar. All right. Spell that right. Randy Brown, Liz Carmouche, Bilal Muhammad, and Diloff. So Let's go ahead and send those people down right now. So I know the first one is Odin and Sylvester. All right, let's send them down to ROC. All right, send down to ROC. And you notice how it's saying matchmaking instructions. I'll show you in a little bit. Anderson and Glenn. So let's go right here, Anderson, Braddock, Silva. So you notice right there where it says matchmaking instructions. Now I could send them down with specific instructions, like if I really wanted to protect Silva, like if I knew that he was like very marketable and I wanted to bring him up with a good record, I could say protect. Now that would give him people that they know are inferior to him, so that way he could win easily. If I went target, that would mean that I'm sending him down there simply to job him out to people, like just give him people who are like incredibly better than him, just so he can get losses on him. Just so basically, like he would basically be just a body to take losses down there. I can get feed that would like essentially just like feed him like no names just to beat, or build, which would be giving him people equal to his status to help build him up. Give him good fights and make him a better fighter essentially. But I just don't like giving him instructions just because it makes it easier for them to get booked, and they get booked quicker, so they essentially get fights quicker and they develop quicker. So Braddock Silva we will be sending down to ROC as well. All right, and then Glenn Oscari and Berengar. So Glenn 110%. I like that nickname. All right, Oscari starting out in 2-0 in his career. Good for you. And then what was the last name? Berengar. Right, so these guys are back down in ROC, and that is good for that. And as far as we're concerned, that is we are all good for everything else. We have to wait to schedule the Ultimate Fighter for the inaugural atomweight title, but nonetheless, we are ready to go for UFC 251, Rousey versus Dumont. And here we go. Once again, skipping through all the fights except for the main fights, title fights. Not even the main fights, just literally the title fights and any, like fights that have any significance to them. So, or the main events. So the only fight that we're really going to be looking at is the main event, which is Ronda Rousey versus Norma Dumont. So here we are, UFC 251, and the first fight in the prelims is Charles Rosa versus Josh Emmett. In real life, Josh Emmett has had a good go of it, but he recently has lost his last 2 fights, I believe, and he's basically on the downturn. He had a couple good wins, but he's going nowhere quickly. Although I'd imagine he might win this one, 11-6 versus 14-5, and Josh Emmett wins. All right, so good for him at the featherweight division. Josh Emmett getting the victory there. And it says he has real star power. All right, I'm not going to try to say that Russian name, taking on Patrick Iadis. Alibekov will say 13-0, and he's heavily favored against Iadis, 12-1. I'm just going to take Alibekov. And yep, Alibekov wins in the second round via TKO, improves to 14-0. So look out for him in the lightweight division. Next up is Nasrat Haqparast, 11-3, taking on 11-3-1 Drakkar Klose. All right, and Haqparast wins. Average fight went to a unanimous decision, but Haqparast gets the win, taking it back home to Germany. Next up, in I believe that's the flyweight division, is Ji-Yeon Kim taking on Bruna Ellen, 11-3-2, taking on 9-3. Kim coming off a victory over Rachel Swaits, and Ellen, I believe, is coming off 2 straight losses. No, in fact, 3 straight wins over another Russian name I won't try to say, Diana Belbita and Ariel Beck. So let's go ahead and get this one simulated. I'm going to take Ellen just simply because of her youth. And yep, Bruna Ellen defeats Ji-Yeon Kim. Decent fights in the third round. 5-3, 125, unbelievable. She wants to fight Mara Romero Barella next, and she has a lot of natural charisma. Good for her, young. She'll definitely get fights in the future, and one to look out for is Bruna Ellen. All right, so Matheus Nicolau, who we recently just saw win his last fight. I can't remember when it was exactly, but he's one to look out for as well in real life. Taking on Tagir Ulanbekov. 14-4-1, taking on 10-1-1. I'm going to take Ulanbekov here in the flyweight division. And yep, Ulanbekov takes it. And his last fight was against Wilson Heiss, and he lost. But before that, he was on a win streak. So Ulan Bekov, definitely one to look out for. And it says that he invites everyone to his post-show party. How very nice of him. All right, next is Estela Nunes taking on Stephanie Egink in the strawweight division. 15-1-1 taking on 9-5. I'm going to take Estela Nunes, and she takes it via TKO in round 3. Improves to 16-1-1. So definitely one to look out for in the women's strawweight division. Next, in what I believe is the featherweight division, it's going to be Alexis Dufresne. Oh my god. She's expected to just destroy Jessica Evil Eye at the featherweight division. So, we'll see. Alright. I'm just going to take Dufresne here. She's got 3 inches on her and 7 pounds on her. Evil Eye wasn't even able to get up to featherweight weight, which, I mean, doesn't really matter all that much, but she's going to have weight advantage over you. So, Dufresne's going to take this, no problem. She does via rear naked choke in round 2. Dufresne improves to 11-4. Alright, good for Dufresne. Moving on. This is basically going to be on the Fox Sports 1 prelims at this point. We've got Movsar Evloev, 13-0, taking on Bibiano Fernandez, highly touted Bellator bantamweight, although he's 40 years old and 22-6 in this save. As you can see, he's not had the best go in the UFC, 3 straight losses over Lineker, Tanaka, and Douglas Silva Andrade. And he's taking on an undefeated Movsar Evloev, who's beaten Quinn Ho Quack and Brett Johns. He's the number 11 ranked bantamweight in the UFC, and I believe he's going to dispatch Fernandez easily, and he does via unanimous decision. And he wants to fight Cody Garbrandt. Unbelievable. That is an interesting fight. I don't think he's the most marketable fighter, Evloev, but I mean, if he wants Garbrandt can draw that fight. So that's an interesting one. All right, Jeremy Stephens versus JBC Kennedy. This is the main event of the prelim fights. Jeremy Stephens, well-known UFC veteran. In this save, he is coming off of a win over Maxim Divnich, and he's won the last 2 out of 4, with a win over Lamas, losses to Freire and Elkins. All right, and then Jeremy JBC Kennedy, number 21 in the UFC, is coming off a loss over Chad Mendes, but before that beat Josh Emmett and Michael Trezano. And I believe the bookies are favoring Kennedy, so it's going to be interesting to see who wins this one, as it is JBC Kennedy. He had a 2-inch advantage over him, and he improves to 16-1. And he shows some respect to Jeremy Stephens, as now we are on the main card of the pay-per-view. Officially, the theme song plays and everything. Pay-per-view, do not steal this pay-per-view. This is pay-per-view fights that you are watching, so, be sure to give me your $60 so you can watch this fight card as we go on ahead towards the main card of UFC 251, and it's Yair Rodriguez taking on Patricio Freire. Now, Yair was previously our featherweight champion, beat Max Holloway for it, but immediately losing it to Jose Aldo at UFC 243. This is his first fight since then, and it's against Patricio Freire, who was heavily hyped after going through Bellator, although on his debut, he beat Jeremy Stephens, and then in a title eliminator fight, lost to Henan Barao at the exact same 243 show. So both these guys are going at it. The bookies are favoring Rodriguez. He does not have a fight team, so that may be a factor. And Freire, for the Pitbull brothers, not favored as much. 6-year advantage for Rodriguez. I think Yair still might take it, and in fact, he does. Unanimous decision victory. And Yair praises Freire for a tough fight. All right, so the natural-born killer Carlos Condit taking on Quicksand Mike Pyle. 33-13, 46 total fights for Carlos Condit, taking on an equal veteran in Mike Pyle, 30-14-1, 44 years old. I think Carlos will take it, despite him not having a team. I think he's coming off of a loss, 2 straight losses to GSP and Vincent Luque, so this is a pretty good fight for him to be taking. And Mike Pyle, let's see what Pyle has been up to. He is on a two-fight win streak over Tim Means and Alex Morono, so good for him. And although I do think this might be the end of the line for Pyle, he'll lose this fight and then retire. And what a way to do so on pay-per-view, And in fact, Carlos Condit does defeat him via unanimous decision. And Mike Pyle shows some respect to Mike Pyle, Carlos Condit, and it doesn't look like Pyle is retiring. Very interesting, considering he is already 44 years old. You gotta wonder when exactly he's gonna be retiring. But nonetheless, groovy Lando Venata taking on Marif Parayev. Parayev making his UFC debut on pay-per-view, and what a way to do it. He's 16-1-1, high-level regional, but look at all that momentum he's got on his side. And he's won his last 5 fights. Unbelievable. Against Lando Venata, who's, I think, on a pretty good run of his own. Yeah, he's winner of his last 3 over Alan Patrick, Diego Sanchez, and the very highly touted prospect Carrington Banks. So a very good fight to have on pay-per-view. 2 youngins looking to get after it. It's a very even fight, although I do think I'm going to take Venata simply because he has UFC experience, and that is not what happens. Actually, Parayev on his UFC debut chokes out Lando Venata, so what an impression to make on pay-per-view with all that momentum on your side. And he says he's delighted to have started his UFC career with a win. Marif Parayev, one to look out for in the lightweight division. So the co-main events, Platinum Mike Perry against Paul Daly. Paul Daly, of course, the guy that cheap-shotted Josh Koscheck after their fight a long time ago. But I re-signed him to the UFC because I'm not Dana White. Came in, lost to Nicholas Musok, and then beat Colby Covington, who is actually currently the champion, if you think about it. That's crazy. But Mike Perry, very outspoken Mike Perry, in both in real life and in this game. He had basically a war with Sean Strickland. He beat the crap out of him. He beat Benson Henderson as well, beat Chad Laprise, and I think he wants to fight Cowboy Cerrone too. But he has this fight with Daly, and I think I'm gonna go for Perry in this one. Look at how much the bookies are going for him, despite him not having a team. I think Daly's getting up there in age, and in fact, Platinum Mike Perry defeats Paul Semtex Daly in the first round via Kimura, and he's probably going to say something about Cerrone here. Ooh. Now this is interesting. Let's look at what Mike Perry says. He is asked who he'd like to fight next, and he answers that he wants Tyron Woodley, as it would be fun to kick his ass for money when he would happily do it for free anyways. Wow. So Perry definitely wants Tyron Woodley. That's going to be an interesting one to see, as we have made it to our main event. Ronda Rousey, the UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion, back at it again against a very young, a very inexperienced, but the number 1 contender, Norma Dumont. So, number 16 ranked pound for pound fighter as far as women goes, number 5 in the world, and number 5 in the UFC. But, I mean, just look at the fights that she has on her back. Beat Karina Dam, beat Shevchenko, beat Carmouche, has beaten another fighter named Sarah Morris, and then beat Miesha Tate in her comeback fight. Unbelievable, and definitely deserving of a title fight. I mean, she's only 8-0, but she deserves a title fight over a Ronda Rousey, who very quickly won the title back, beat Sarah McMahon in her comeback fight on UFC on Fox, and then boom, beat Holly Holm, and then boom, defended it against Raquel Pennington. So, Ronda Rousey is back, and in the main event against Norma Immortal Dumont, I'm going to take Rousey in this one, although there would be absolute scenes if Dumont takes it here. I'm going to say armbar for Rousey in about the 3rd round. This is a title fight that we're watching here. Herb Dean is officiating. It's time, says Bruce Buffer, and we are underway. And Dumont is closing in on Rousey, trying to look to use that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that she has on her side. Although Ronda Rousey has that judo and that armbar. Blood is visible on Rousey. Oh no. A cut on Rousey. Rousey is knocked down. Oh no. Dumont is trying to fire away a powerful shot. Oh my god. Saves Rousey from more in the very first round. My goodness. Unbelievable. 26-year-old Norma Dumont, with just 8 professional fights under her belt, has defeated Rowdy Ronda Rousey via TKO in the first round. Oh no, Ronda, don't retire again, please. Oh man, we have a new UFC Bantamweight champion, and her name is Norma Dumont. Unbelievable. Her last fight was over Miesha Tate, and she choked her out. and she just destroys Ronda Rousey in like 2.5 minutes. Wow. In just her ninth fight, is the UFC Bantamweight champion. She's asked who she'd like to fight next, and she answers that she thinks that Amanda Nunes would be a great contest. Wow. And yep, Amanda Nunes is the number one contender for the Bantamweight title. So a Brazilian versus Brazilian title fight. That looks to be what we have on the cards for us here. And look, a critical rating of 78, commercial rating of 100%, and it made $33 million at the box office. A great pay-per-view and the ending of a great video. Unbelievable. UFC 251, we have a new UFC Women's Bantamweight champion, Norma Dumont, defeating Ronda Rousey in 2.5 minutes. And you can see Mike Perry, Parayev, Condit, and Rodriguez, the other main card fight winners. What an unbelievable pay-per-view. And we can go ahead and remove Dumont from this contender list because she is officially the champion. And we are going to sign off right there. We have a new Bantamweight champion, Norma Dumont. That has been UFC 251 and the Ultimate Fighter, Voss versus Harrison. We will be back. Unbelievable. The UFC is ever-changing. You never know what can happen. Thanks, you guys, for joining me. I am signing off, AZ Palau 21. Be sure to join me again as we make our way towards UFC 252. I'll see you guys later.